Hey everyone, Philosopher Stoner 666 here. I just wanted to make a quick video. I was watching the Amazing Atheist channel and noticed now that Howard Bloom is going to be doing videos every Tuesday. Now, I just want to preface what I'm about to talk about with that I don't mean to be insulting or condescending or whatever when I'm talking with the Amazing Atheist, Howard Bloom. I've watched your videos since I was like 17 and always found them very entertaining, and Howard Bloom's especially when you were interviewing him and he was talking about the sex lives of philosophers. You know, I thought it was a very interesting, engaging video. Now, I don't mean any of this in a brown-nosing way, but, you know, it first got me interested on the subject of atheism, you know, back when I was like 17 years old. So now I'm 24. So anyways, what I wanted to talk about was the range of debate, the spectrum of debate between atheism and theism in North America has always struck me as being very Pollyanna. So that we have on the one hand, you know, Pollyanna Christianity, which is like the soft, you know, it's like when you talk about moderate Islam. That it's not, you know, these are people, they're like cafeteria Catholics. You know, they go to church for Christmas and Easter. They don't really read their Bible. They don't really know much about it. So their arguments, when they talk about it, it's, you know, pretty much all over the place, not intellectually consistent. So we have, that's the theism side, you know, the cafeteria Catholicism kind of thing. And that's very North American to be like that. You'll get, like in Europe, you know, Catholic theologians that, you know, when you want to talk about something like anarchy or use, you know, intellectually pretentious words like nihilism or whatever, they'll know what you're talking about, but not in North America. Anyway, so then you'll have on that side, you'll have on the opposite side, you know, Pollyanna Atheism, which I think your video, this latest video, is a clear example of. It's the brand of atheism, the brand of modern atheism. This sort of brand was first espoused by guys, you know, like Richard Dawkins, you know, politically correct intellectuals wearing, you know, suits and, you know, doing lectures and stuff at, you know, universities. And in Pollyanna atheism, it's optimism. There are a lot of problems when you accept that God is dead and God is gone. You have to reconcile yourself with the problems of nihilism, which is the fact that there is no meaning for life because all meaning before came from a God or whatever. You also have to deal with the problem of futility, the fact that, you know, you are going to die and that everything in this world, you know, doesn't mean all that much, or there isn't a meaning unless you give it a meaning. And these sorts of problems, death, futility, all that sort of stuff. And I don't think this kind of atheism wants to deal with those in any sort of intellectually honest way. It doesn't want to deal with the real hard problems of the amount of suffering in the world that seems almost unmeasurable. It doesn't want to be held accountable for any of that. So in order to do that, it has to invent ways of being, you know, optimistic or of finding some value in the whole experience. Because when you look at it intellectually honest, you see that there's a huge price for all of it. So now, in his video, he goes on about how the fact that we've achieved some sort of progress by the fact that, you know, the median death age used to be 40 years old, now it's 78 years old. And really, in my head, I'm thinking, well, haven't we just, you know, postponed the inevitable fail? You know, we haven't tackled the problem of death. We haven't cured death. We haven't cured death at all. We've made it more hygienic. I was thinking about, you know, my grandmother died about a month ago, and at her funeral, you know, she died at the age of 89. And the last 20 years of her life were, you know, basically horrible. You know, we got to see her slowly break down, lose all her mental faculties. She got Alzheimer's. She basically took 20 years to die, physically becoming more decrepit, losing all dignity. And that's really what we've accomplished. So instead of, you know, dying at 40, you know, you'll die at 89 of Alzheimer's or some bullshit like that. And what kept her alive was a mountain of pills. So I don't really see the progress. You know, it's like in our culture, you know, and it would be a valid critique to say that maybe we're like the princess with the 40 mattresses. I mean, that's what we've accomplished. You know, so in a way, yeah, we have this progress, the fact that I can make these videos and talk about this stuff. So we have the, you know, this webcam. But really, you know, culturally, what are we using it for? It's only a minority, a 10% minority, guys like the Amazing Atheists, that are using it for any sort of intellectual purpose. For the most part, most of our entertainment is, you know, just to watch Justin Bieber do these sorts of things. So, you know, we haven't really solved any of the problems. And I think if you were going to be intellectually honest, you would have to say yes to, if you were given the opportunity to live the life of the average human being on planet Earth right now. And I think if guys like Howard Bloom and the Amazing Atheist and others were intellectually honest, I don't think they would say yes to that. I still think, you know, our world sucks. Our society sucks. You know, I read the paper, and in the back page of the paper there's an article about how in Bangladesh, you know, 164 people or whatever died in our sweatshops to make our crap for our society. And, you know, we don't seem to see that as, you know, a fail. That, you know, the front page article is about, you know, the sports section, who won the football game, who won the hockey game, that sort of thing. That, you know, what are people using all this technology and all this stuff for? What, you know, to get Big Macs and to get Slurpees, and, you know, there's no wisdom in our culture. There's no using it for any of these grand philosophical conversations or any of this, you know, Pollyanna mush. I don't see it happening. I don't see the progress. But again, you know, maybe I could be wrong on any of this. I don't know. But then, you know, the second notion that I found kind of weird about it, with what he's talking about, is just, you know, Amazing Atheist had made a video a while back, you know, about how, you know, we've sort of sated or pacified Christianity. You know, the Christians of, say, 250 years ago, Christians nowadays would be offended by. And in a certain sense, you know, yeah, that's very true. So we've given them Big Macs, Slurpees, iPods, iPhones, that sort of thing. But really, what have we been doing? It's sort of like we just it's like we're an evolved chimp, right? Basically. And all we've done is we're the 10% minority of the human race that has advanced at all, that's, you know, smarter than the 90%. All we've been doing is throwing bananas at the chimps. And I mean, well, what happens when we reach, you know, when we can't throw them bananas anymore? They're going to go apeshit. You know, it's like this is very common with atheism, with all these other kinds of beliefs that, you know, don't want to deal with the problem of peak oil, peak water, 7 billion people on a planet with finite resources. You don't want to take any sort of accountability for that. The fact that, you know, everything we do, you know, there's going to be suffering. You know, there's going to be some good things, maybe, but, you know, it's all at this risk. And so what most of this, the consequences of most of this sort of rhetoric, like what Howard Bloom is espousing, is just, you know, more of this optimistic drivel of trying to create something to justify perpetuating all of it. That somehow it's a win that instead of dying at 40, you die at 78. When it doesn't really make any difference. You're still gonna die, you stupid motherfucker. That, you know, that really our circumstance, if you take atheism seriously, you got to take things like futility seriously. That's what it leads to. It leads to guys like Peter Wessel Zappfe, this Norwegian thinker atheist, when he said, you know, we come from a incomprehensible nothingness, stay a while here to go back into the incomprehensible nothingness. And I think, to me, that's serious atheism. That's intellectually honest atheism. The kind of atheism of Schopenhauer. But of course, you know, Schopenhauer was, you know, boring or whatever. You know, it's not fun to be Schopenhauer. So it's never going to be taken seriously. What's only going to be taken seriously is this Pollyanna sort of mush of delusions of progress and achievement and stuff at, you know, preposterously high cost. And they don't want to take these problems sort of seriously. So I guess what I'm saying is that it's almost like atheism has become so desperate, it's competing with religion, that it's sort of tripping over itself. It's tripping over itself and its rhetoric, and not even taking its own conclusions seriously. That the fact that there is no God means we live in a, you know, meaningless amoral universe that's just run by crude forces like biology and chemistry, where living things eat each other for the sake of DNA, to accomplish nothing, for no higher purpose. It's just to die anyway. And that, yeah, that's the story of atheism. Story of, of that going on. And then cosmology that says, oh yeah, the universe is just entropy. It's all going to die. The universe is going to collapse from a heat death. All this stuff that science is saying that's the truth. And yeah, atheism, it's like when people are like, well, damn, that kind of sucks. That's kind of depressing. It has to sort of run away from it. It has to run away from the darker aspects of its philosophy. So anyway, I guess that's why I liked his other video he did before with the there are no atheists in foxholes. I think that's taking atheism a little bit more seriously, in my opinion. Anyways, I think that's enough of a video. I really just think we have to sort of expand the conversation a little bit. Anyways, yeah, that's enough for now. Philosopher Stoner 666 out.